early autumn has arrived. A little fog out there. Nights are cool, days are warm, and with the rain we've received, the high humidity, even the trees are showing some color changes. This time of year, the plants really are in their glory. The celery really looks good. I find it interesting that the one plant that seemed to have died is actually doing pretty good. We'll get some good out of it. Now, I'll have to back up a bit. If you remember, there was a contest, or a test, I should say, that Barton did. We planted, I think, 3 plants or more. I can't remember the number, but we planted some plants just outside of this arbor, this trellis. And then we planted some on the inside. And what I'm thinking is, how can you tell the difference? And Barton and I have been picking cucumbers off of this, and we're not even close to picking them all. What I find strange is it really didn't climb like our cucumbers usually do. Japanese cucumbers possibly need more training, more strings, something, I don't know. My blueberry plants, I put them into this raised bed because I don't have the raised bed box ready for them in the area that I want them in. So I went ahead and just put them in here. And you can see that the oldest blueberry plants that I've had for a couple years that look dead in the original row seems to be hanging on. Now there's some that I don't know that'll make it, but others may come back by the root. And then there's the new ones. And they seem to be doing pretty good. The story I'd like to tell is about this acorn plant. This is the little acorn plant that could. And yes, there are acorns on. They're down there. And Barton went hunting, and he found where there was a number of acorns in there. Might be on the other side, I'm not sure, but he showed, I don't know, 3 or 4, all clustered. But I can tell you that the plant itself is a very happy plant. Why? Yes, we have weeds. We've abandoned the garden because I was working on that greenhouse. So how are the tomatoes doing? Well, Those are 5-foot cages, and we're at least 2 feet above with a number of the tomato plants already. The shortest plants I had were cherry tomatoes and pear tomatoes, yellow pear. But as you can see, they're loaded. And yes, there are some ripe ones in there. Now these are going to be later in the year, later this month, because I didn't plant them until mid-June, which is pretty late. Now we're in zone 6. We need to be planting earlier. But we didn't get into the garden, and if you want to know why we didn't get into the garden, check out our videos earlier this year where we struggle with rain and weeds. Yeah, there's some big ones in there. A little bit sunburnt growing on the outside. That's a 5-foot cage, folks. You can see how high those tomato plants are. This year, they're actually dwarfed compared to what I usually have. But as late in the year, and as cool as the spring was, it was a very slow start. There should be plenty. Now, folks, the plants on this side of the garden are the ones that were free. My neighbor gave us over 20 plants. Oh, I see some red ones down below. We'll have to do some picking and some eating. Picking and grinning. Lots of tomatoes in there. I don't trim, as you can tell, because when I'm ready to harvest, we get in there and pull the branches back and we harvest. And we leave them on as long as we can to get them as sweet as we can. They're the best flavor. Oh, there's a pretty one. The sunflowers have gotten really large. That's the first time I've planted sunflowers. So it's a new experience for me. It's kind of grown together. But we'll open it up by pushing the branches over. This is the east side. And you can see where the cage is. Lots of tomatoes. It's a jungle out here, right? And of course, The cucumbers are doing good. Remember, my daughter Elizabeth saved these cucumbers by putting cinnamon on it, on the leaves. It gave it a chance to get through that critical period where it was do or die. And then I came back through with a organic spray, and I sprayed the leaves really good because we had one plant that actually got, well, it died because the cutworm or something got in there. I'm not even going to get in there because it's so early in the morning that it's very wet, folks. But there's lots of tomatoes. I guess it's time for some fried green tomatoes. Now the squash, summer squash, we've been picking those. We had to pick one watermelon. It actually fell off the vine, so I think it's ready. And we're going to eat that. So the cucumbers seem to be doing pretty good. Now, like I say, we haven't been out here lately, so we're behind. We're behind picking. And I have not canned. Oh, there's a big one hiding in there. Oh my. Yeah, they're hiding. I did not can the pickles yet. Should still be able to do that. And I think there's more watermelon in there. I'd have to do some digging. They're buried up pretty good. Summer squash is done really good. No, that's a banana squash, and it's really small compared to what I'm used to growing. Butternut squash is doing good. And butternut, whew, they're everywhere. Now the melons, these are cantaloupe. And there's quite a few. And I'm going to guess that they're getting real close. I'm going to have to do some picking here pretty soon. Because they're big. When they get that big, they're probably nice and sweet and ready to eat. I planted quite a few cantaloupe plants because usually I lose them, but this year they've done good. I didn't lose them because of bugs. Now I do have brandywine tomatoes, but I also had some bigger tomatoes, more like beefsteak and so forth. But a lot of cherry tomatoes, and they are starting to turn. So we will have to get in here and pick some of these beautiful things. Anybody that's raised yellow pear tomatoes, you know it's a blessing. And they are, oh, there's a lot of them on. This month, we will have a lot. And these are more of a, I don't know if you'd call it a plum cherry tomato. They're pretty good size, a little bigger than the small ones that I'm used to. But I do believe the seeds have come from M.I. Gardener online. I'll have to pick the pears from the pear tree. They're ready. A lot of harvesting to do. I'll have to get that greenhouse done real soon. It's that time of year, folks. So from Sand Hollow Homestead in Sand Hollow, Idaho, we hope you have a good day, and there's lots of food in the garden and the pantry. We'll see you at supper time.